Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and I was always told I had a voice for radio, and today is a good day, ladies and gentlemen, because we're going to be looking at Scizor-GX, and the timing here is rather beautiful. Yesterday, I did a video predicting what Scizor-GX would look like, and then I wake up this morning, and Scizor-GX has been officially revealed. And I'm going to give myself a pretty big Wassy-sized pat on the back here. I absolutely nailed it, ladies and gentlemen. Now, as I've said before, I've been wrong about many things in the past. I predicted that Trainer's Mail would see almost no play. It was a 4 of in every deck. I predicted that the Darkrai from Dark Explorers might see a bit of play for the ability, but was never going to be a good attacking Pokemon. It won the World Championships like 3 years in a row. So I am far from always right. But this time I was, and I am enjoying it, ladies and gentlemen. I woke up to a whole bunch of Facebook messages and tweets this morning from people basically saying, "Ha, you nailed it." Thank you to all those people, by the way. And for those people asking, my wife has confirmed that no, I do not get tired of being right. She brought me back down to earth by making me take the rubbish out before she would let me record this video. Anyway, over to Scizor-GX. It is a metal Pokemon, which means you are hitting weakness against things like Gardevoir and Sylveon, both of which are seeing quite a bit of play at the moment. You can also use Delmise to do a little bit of extra damage, and as we're going to see with the numbers here, that is actually incredibly relevant. Another card which isn't out yet, but will be out by the time Scizor-GX is released, Metal Frying Pan. When you attach Metal Frying Pan to a metal Pokemon, it has no weakness and takes 30 less from attacks. That is incredibly useful, as we're going to see in a moment. And I suppose I should also mention Mount Coronet here. Mount Coronet is just quite nice because it gets your metal energy from the discard. And heck, while we're here, how about a bit of the old Registeel to accelerate energy from the discard pile onto your Scizor. You do have a resistance to Psychic here, which is quite nice, given that there are still things like Espeon and Garbodor running around, seeing a fair amount of play. It is weak to Fire, which might be a bit of an issue in the future, because Metal Pokemon are only getting better, so you could well see things like Ho-Oh, for instance, although to be honest, that would get a KO with a Choice Band even if they weren't hitting for weakness, or Volcanion, seeing a little bit of an increase in play. Retreat cost of 1 is nice just because it's generally low, and 210 HP is on the high side of stage 1. Think stuff like Zoroark, which I'm a little impressed with because, well, the old Scizor on which this was based only had 120 HP. And that makes a beautiful segue to mention here that this Scizor is basically a reprint of the Scizor-GX from Unseen Forces. And both the ability and the attacks are incredibly similar to this Scizor-GX. I do encourage you all to go and have a look at the prediction video I did yesterday, where you can see quite how easy it was to predict this Scizor when you knew that it was going to be a reprint of the old one. So the ability here, and do remember there are always little timestamps in the description if you ever want to flick straight to the translation, says that when Scizor has 100 or less HP remaining, this Pokemon's attacks do 80 more to your opponent's active. This is actually incredibly relevant. This 80 really sits here and starts making you hit the numbers absolutely beautifully here. And the great thing is, there are not going to be that many Pokemon that immediately hit you for the right amount of damage for them. Either they've got to get a one-hit KO doing 210, or they've got to leave you on 110, i.e. they've got to do 100 or less. That is the goal. If they do 110, then you're down to 100, and all of a sudden you're doing an awful lot more damage. And if we look at a lot of the Pokemon that are around at the moment, they're going to struggle. Sure, something like a Duskmane Necrozma can come out and do 220, and then you're going to just be KO'd. But Zoroark, 120 activates your ability. Golisopod, 120 activates your ability. Silvally, 120 activates your ability. Now, the thing is here, when your ability is activated, you've then got a choice to make. Do you just go and get a big KO, knowing that you've then got 100 or less HP and are likely to be KO'd the following turn? Or do you instead heal up, use something like an Ace Roller, and then just keep doing your regular attacks? The thing is here, if you use this ability to take 2 prizes, and then your opponent KOs Scizor to get 2 prizes himself, you've basically traded 2 prizes for 2 prizes, but you've done it on your terms. That sounds okay to me. As a general rule here, you should be okay as long as you're taking 2 prizes. If you get hit by a non-GX, let's say something like an Empoleon, and then you KO the Empoleon and get KO'd back, and you've traded 2 prizes for 1 prize, that is not a good trade. But as long as you can trade 2 for 2, this will be okay. This Scizor gives you options with its ability. Either you heal up, or you do a lot more damage. It's a great ability. The first attack here for 2 Metal Energy does 80 damage, and you take 30 less damage the next turn. This works out beautifully with the ability. Without the ability, you're just not really ever doing enough. 80 damage is a little bit too low. But with the ability here, you're hitting 160. Add a down Mize, remember him from earlier in the video. Now you're hitting 170, and Tapu Lele GX is getting KO'd. Add a Choice Band, you're doing 190, and a Buzzwole or a Dustmane Necrozma is going down. And maybe you get KO'd the next turn. But it doesn't really matter because, like I said, you've taken 2 prizes and you've only used 2 energy to do so. You could even here use 2 Dalmise and a Choice Band, which I know is starting to get up into awkward territory, but then you're hitting 210 and stuff like a Zoroark, stuff like a Golisopod will go down straight away. Now, if the ability isn't active, then you kind of need a Choice Band, because with a Choice Band, you then get a 1-hit KO on a Sylveon, and with a Choice Band and a single Dalmise, again, coming back to how important it is, you now get a KO on a Gardevoir. In the same way that Buzzwole decks tend to play 1 Regirock EX just to help them hit up to the numbers, I expect Scizor decks to play 1 Dalmise, or maybe 2, to help them hit up to the numbers. If you're hitting for weakness, you don't need the ability. If you're not hitting for weakness, you do need the ability, but it really is going to be difficult for a lot of decks to not activate the ability, and then it doesn't matter if they're 2-hit KOing you for 2 prizes, while you're 1-hit KOing them for 2 prizes. And don't forget, when you attack with this, you take 30 less the following turn. And at this stage, I think it's worth mentioning Metal Frying Pan. The combo here is absolutely beautiful. Metal Frying Pan means you take 30 less from attacks the following turn. This attack says you take 30 less from attacks the following turn, meaning that you take 60 less the following turn. So something like a Golisopod, Zoroark, etc. is only actually going to be doing 60 damage, which means you might even survive. And if you can have the ability activated, so you've got 100 HP remaining, then you pull off this combo so you've got 160 remaining, and your opponent can't KO you, you get a second turn of the ability, and at that stage you've probably won the game. But after everything I've already said, the GX attack might be the best thing about this entire card. It's great. 100 damage for free colorless energy, but if it is an evolution Pokemon, you do 200 damage. This is absolutely wonderful, ladies and gentlemen. First things first, it's all colorless energy, so firstly, you can use double colorless energy. Secondly, you can put this in any deck you like. I expect Scizor to be put into non-metal decks just for the GX attack, because the GX attack is free colorless energy, including a double colorless, and you can KO basically any of the best Pokemon in the format. Now remember, it's only evolution Pokemon, so we get something like a Buzzwole or a Dustmane Necrozma or a Tapu Lele. It's only doing 100, that's not great. But against evolution Pokemon, it gets all of the stage 1s essentially, as long as you add a Choice Band here. So instant KO on something like an Espeon, and then Instant KO on something like a Lycanroc. They've both got 200 HP. They both see a lot of play. And like I say, you add a Choice Band here, and you get a KO on anything along the lines of a Zoroark, a Golisopod, a Silvally. It really is over the top good as a GX attack. I mean, let's take something like a Zoroark Golisopod deck. That deck does not have a great GX attack. You end up using Crossing Cut GX with a Choice Band hoping to KO a Tapu. It's not great. So what you do is you put a Scizor down with an energy. And your opponent can either play a Guzma trying to KO that Scizor for one prize, using a Guzma, not attacking your main attacker, in which case, that is a great result for you because you've not taken damage on your attacker. You can force your opponent into a 7-prize game by just making sure they have to still KO 3 GXs to win. And you're making them waste a Guzma. Or they don't KO the Scizor. You evolve it, whack on a double colourless and get 2 prizes on a good Pokemon of theirs. I genuinely think Scizor is a must-have in any metal deck because the first attack here is absolutely brilliant at hitting key numbers. But in any deck that isn't a metal deck, it gives you a wonderful GX attack that hits key numbers, and I would really not be surprised to see people putting a 1-1 Scizor-GX line in a lot of decks playing double colourless energy, because again, let's think of something like Quad Zoroark decks. They don't have a good GX attack to use. This is a 1-1 line. You cannot start with Scizor-GX. You can start with Scizor, but it's not the end of the world. And then it gives you a great GX attack that's likely to get you 2 key prizes during the game. I'll tell you something for nothing. League Challenge I played the other day. I did a video. I'll pop a link in the description. I played Zoroark Garbodor. And I didn't have a GX attack. I could have used Tapu Lele's because I was playing Psychic Energy, but I didn't ever get the chance to use it. And I struggled against Lycanroc. You had better believe I would happily have played a 1-1 Scizor-GX line for the GX attack in that particular deck in a heartbeat. And I suppose, like everything else, get used to seeing Scizor-Zoroark decks. But in terms of a score, I am giving Scizor between 4 and 5 Wassies. We don't give half Wassies. That would be barbaric, and even that might be underselling it. The first attack in conjunction with the ability is great. It's great in metal decks. And then, of course, all you need to do is pop this in any deck playing double colourless energy, and you get a great GX attack. It's brilliant. I love it. But I want to know if you love it, so let me know in the comment section. Go nuts! But be nice. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at @TheWassie, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and so on, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio. And do check out my other channel, Wassie Plays, for some video games and Dragon Ball Super action. But by far the most important thing, as always, is to look after yourselves. Until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.